device you've often used is the monologue or soliloquy. How did you come to make such use of that in your
Yes,
work?
I have done it. Actually, 3 of my monologues were, 3 of my stories which were written in the form of soliloquies were enacted by the National School of Drama under the one single title, 3 Texts in Solitude. And I think in answer to your question, I can only repeat what I had written in the brochure, that I always felt that man, in his intense moments of introspection, speaks to himself. It is as it were he is communicating with his own soul. And soul is the great listener unless we kill it. Many of us, of course, kill the soul and it stops listening. It tries to be vulnerable, it tries to be responsive to us, but the moment we ignore it or ruthlessly neglect it, it dies away, it withers away. But if in case the soul is alive, it is still responsive to us, then we do commune with the soul. Actually, some of the best soliloquies of Shakespeare are these self-communions with oneself. What we call the asides, where everybody is listening, but the man is talking to himself. And what we consider to be the so-called lunatic people, the insane people, they talk to themselves. I wish we could know the language of their introspection, the way they talk to themselves. And children, of course, they talk. I mean, you enter a room and you will find a child talking with the toys, with the walls, with herself or himself. I found that soliloquy could be a very effective literary means to bring out a certain inner portrait of a person in her or in his unconscious moments. You must have seen that an old woman sitting in a park is talking to herself, or a drunkard, a person in a bar who has he doesn't know anybody, but he's talking to somebody. I don't know, but I have a great desire to write a whole short novel in a soliloquy without any characters, any dialogue, or any such conventional conversations.
But the inspiration for that was quite unusual, wasn't it? Because you went abroad and spent many years in Czechoslovakia and encountered really a different form of living there. So didn't that feed it? Because a lot of your soliloquies are in fact set abroad in pubs and parks where people, in a sense, are not, so it seems to me, not only talking to themselves, or perhaps they are, they are talking to themselves, they're also trying very hard to reach out and communicate.
It's very true.
In a situation of utter loneliness.
That was one of the most shocking experiences of mine because I spent some of my first years in Prague before I came to London. That how lonely are the old people. And since I come from an Indian background where they may not be very happy, but they live with their families, with their children, they may not be very happy with their children. But the very fact that somebody is there in proximity, that they can call him his son or son-in-law or daughter-in-law, is a great source of comfort. But there I found that old people, not that their children are cruel towards them, but because of the rush, because of the situations they work or employed outside, they simply do not know what to do, to whom they should speak. So I met many of these people in the nightclubs, in the pubs, sitting in the parks, and simply because they found me as a person who knows their language, and yet not one of them. Sometimes you are able to betray your innermost secrets to a stranger rather than to somebody whom you know, because then you feel very much at ease. And I was a unconscious witness or audience to many of these confessions of people in the parks or in the bars. And well, because of a series of such conversations that I had, I was able to recapture some of them in some of my soliloquies which I wrote during that time.
And for instance, in An Inch and a Half Above Ground, where you're which brings together many of the themes of your stories, the sense of trying to reach out, the sense of loneliness, where a man talks about his wife, doesn't he? And you tell us a bit about the inspiration for that.
Precisely brings me to the question which you asked me earlier about history and personal relationship. Here is one instance where during the Nazi occupation, Gestapo takes away the wife, and the husband, because of this historical event, for the first time finds himself in a situation of tremendous puzzlement, because he never thought that his wife, who had been so close to him, could indulge in such radical political anti-Nazi activities about which she had never taken him into confidence. Here is the point where history impinges upon the personal relationships, a question that you asked me, a question which very much fascinates me, without either bringing history in its direct form or making personal relationships as an ivory tower indulgence, which I don't want to do. So I would like to combine these two elements of objectivity, which is history, and very deep personal relationships, and see the points of contact where they are able to illuminate one another.
But that's an unusual instance, isn't it? Because you very seldom dealt with it that directly.
No. Well, that's true. But in the novel that I am writing, about which I don't want to talk just now, it is precisely that which I would like to realize in a more adequate manner. You are absolutely correct. I have done it in a fragmentary manner, in one story or the other. But that has been my great desire to treat this problem of history and individual in a more comprehensive, on a broader canvas.
You've also, although a lot of your stories deal with loneliness, anguish, and the sense of people trying to reach out, perhaps not succeeding in reaching out to each other, you've also talked about happiness, and you've said there's a very different quality to happiness, that happiness is a matter of particular moments, whereas sorrow doesn't depend on particularities.
Yeah.
Why did you say that?
I believe that there is something in the human species itself, bereft of nature and God, that unhappiness is very much an innate condition of the human situation. I would not say that it is a bad situation, it is a wrong situation. I won't say that. I would say it is something which has to be accepted. I would not go into the details, but this is my belief that I do not want to treat my novels as happy novels or unhappy novels. I want to get away from these categories. But there is a feeling of a sense of deep deprivation in the human mind itself, in the human consciousness itself. What is it due to? Whether at one point he lost God, or at another point there was a rupture between him and his relationship with the nature, or as an individual there was another fall from the Garden of Eden, that he felt himself completely isolated from the community and became a lonely individual, an individual in the crowd. There may be various sociological, historical, anthropological reasons for it. I won't go into that. But I, as a writer, would like to accept that situation and probe into it in relationship to history, time, society, in other individuals. But I take that situation as something which gives me, I would say, as a mind to explore, to investigate, to go deep into, to penetrate. That is my feeling about it.
Nirmal Verma, thank you very much.